I can't keep this secret anymore. At my best friend's wedding, his 44-year-old mom asked me to dance during the last song. Everyone else has someone, she whispered as we swayed together. Just for tonight, can I pretend you're mine? What started on that dance floor ended somewhere I never imagined. Welcome to Secret Stories, where real confessions come to life. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to join our community of secret keepers. My name is Owen Carter, and this is the confession I've been carrying for 3 months. The secret about what happened at my best friend's wedding, and how one dance with his mother changed everything I thought I knew about desire, guilt, and the impossibly thin line between right and wrong. I'm 25, working as a graphic designer at a marketing agency in Denver. My best friend Marcus and I have known each other since high school. 7 years of friendship, shared apartments, countless road trips. He's not just my best friend, he's the brother I never had, the one person who knows all my secrets. Well, almost all of them. When Marcus told me he was getting married to Sarah, I was genuinely thrilled. They'd been together for 3 years, and the wedding was planned for early June at this incredible luxury mountain resort in Aspen, one of those picture-perfect venues with massive windows showcasing the Rocky Mountains. What I wasn't prepared for was seeing his mom, Catherine Reynolds, transform from the woman I'd known casually over the years into someone I literally couldn't take my eyes off. Catherine was 47, but she looked at least 10 years younger. She was a highly successful wedding planner with her own thriving business, which explained why Marcus and Sarah's wedding was being executed with such flawless precision. She'd been divorced for about 10 years, and according to Marcus, she'd completely thrown herself into work after the split, rarely dating, always putting her career and her son first. I'd met Catherine maybe a dozen times over the years. Quick hellos, brief conversations at holiday gatherings, occasional family dinners. She was always professional, always impeccably polished, always kind, but maintaining appropriate distance. I knew she was attractive. Anyone with eyes could see that, but she was Marcus's mom, so I'd never allowed myself to think about her any other way. The wedding weekend completely shattered all of that carefully maintained distance. I arrived at the resort on Friday afternoon, checking into my room and immediately heading to the rehearsal dinner. The venue was absolutely stunning. A rustic, elegant mountain lodge with massive wooden beams, enormous stone fireplaces, and panoramic mountain views that took your breath away. That's when I first saw Catherine that weekend, and everything shifted. She was standing near the main entrance, directing staff with practiced efficiency. She wore a simple but devastatingly elegant navy dress that somehow managed to be both completely professional and absolutely stunning. Her blonde hair fell in loose, natural waves past her shoulders, and when she turned and saw me approaching, her smile was genuine and warm, in a way I'd never really noticed before. "Owen," she said, walking over with natural grace. "It's so good to see you." "Thank you so much for being here for Marcus. It means the world to him." "Wouldn't miss it for anything," I said, but I found myself noticing things I'd never paid attention to before. The way her striking blue eyes caught the light, the graceful way she moved through the space, the subtle hint of expensive perfume that smelled like jasmine, mixed with something else I couldn't identify but found intoxicating. The rehearsal dinner went incredibly smoothly. Catherine was everywhere at once, managing every tiny detail while also being fully present and supportive for her son. I watched her coordinate with staff, comfort a visibly nervous Sarah, and share a quiet moment with Marcus that made him laugh despite his pre-wedding jitters. During dinner, I ended up seated directly next to Catherine. Marcus had arranged it that way, probably thinking we could keep each other company since we both knew the couple so well. "You've done an absolutely incredible job with all this," I told her as we ate. "Thank you," she said. And for the first time that evening, I saw her shoulders relax slightly. I just want everything to be perfect for Marcus. He deserves nothing less. He's incredibly lucky to have you as his mom. She looked at me then, really looked at me with those penetrating blue eyes, and something indefinable but powerful passed between us. Just a brief moment, just the smallest flicker of mutual awareness. But I felt it run through my entire body like electricity. "Owen," she said quietly, her voice dropping to something more intimate. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Of course. Anything. Do you ever feel completely invisible?" Like you've spent so long being defined as someone's mother or someone's employee or someone's ex-wife that you've completely forgotten who you actually are underneath all those roles. The unexpected vulnerability in her voice caught me completely off guard. This was Catherine dropping the carefully maintained professional mask, showing me something genuine and raw beneath. I think everyone feels that way sometimes, I said carefully. But for what it's worth, I don't see you as invisible at all. I see someone who's incredibly talented, who's created something beautiful for her son, who's strong enough to build an entire successful life on her own terms. Her eyes glistened slightly with emotion, and she reached across the table to squeeze my hand firmly. Thank you for saying that. You have no idea how much I needed to hear something like that tonight. That touch lingered significantly longer than it should have. When she finally pulled her hand away, I could still feel the warmth of her skin on mine, still feel the connection that had sparked between us. The next day was the wedding itself. I spent most of the morning in my room, giving Marcus and Sarah space for their preparations. When it was time for the ceremony, I took my seat and watched as Catherine walked gracefully down the aisle before the bridesmaids. She wore an elegant champagne-colored dress that caught the afternoon sunlight streaming through the massive windows, and she looked absolutely radiant. The ceremony was genuinely beautiful. Marcus and Sarah exchanged deeply personal vows that made at least half the room cry openly, including Catherine, who dabbed delicately at her eyes while maintaining that composed, graceful smile. At the reception, I made polite small talk with various guests, danced with a few bridesmaids, and watched Marcus and Sarah have their first dance. The pure joy radiating from them was genuinely infectious. As the evening progressed, the music shifted from upbeat celebration to slower, romantic melodies meant for couples. The dance floor filled with pairs swaying together in increasingly dim lighting, everyone lost in their own intimate moments. I was standing at the edge of the room, nursing a glass of expensive whiskey and watching the scene unfold, when I sensed someone approaching quietly from behind. Owen! I turned to find Catherine standing there, backlit by soft lighting. She'd taken her hair down from its earlier elegant updo, and it now fell in soft, touchable waves around her face. The champagne dress seemed to glow in the low light, and there was something profoundly different in her eyes, a mixture of deep sadness and powerful longing that made my chest tighten. "Hi," I said, my voice rougher than intended. "Would you dance with me?" she asked directly. "For the very last song?" I looked around carefully. Most guests were already paired up, swaying slowly to the music. Marcus and Sarah were completely lost in their own perfect world, holding each other close like nothing else existed. "Of course," I said without hesitation. She took my hand confidently and led me to a quieter, darker corner of the dance floor, deliberately away from the center where most couples had gathered. As we began to move together, I placed one hand carefully on her waist, and she rested her hand on my shoulder. Her other hand remained firmly in mine, our fingers naturally intertwining. "Everyone has someone tonight," she whispered, so quietly I had to lean closer to hear. "You have Marcus," I reminded her gently. "You have your son." She looked up at me, and in the dim lighting I could clearly see unshed tears glistening in those beautiful blue eyes. "Can I pretend you're mine? Just for this one song? Just for these few minutes?" The question hung heavily between us, loaded with layers of meaning I wasn't entirely sure I understood. But the way she was looking at me so vulnerably, the genuine need in her voice, the gentle but desperate way she held my hand, I couldn't possibly say no. "Yes," I whispered back without thinking. We danced much closer then, her head coming to rest naturally against my chest, my arms holding her in a way that felt both protective and possessive. I could smell her intoxicating perfume, feel the warmth of her body pressed against mine, and sense the way she seemed to melt into me as if she'd been waiting desperately for this moment. "Thank you," she murmured softly against my chest. "You have absolutely no idea how long I've needed to feel exactly like this." "Like what?" I asked quietly. "Desired. Actually wanted. Like I'm genuinely more than just someone's mother or someone's ex-wife. Like I'm just Catherine. Just a woman who someone actually sees and wants." My heart was racing uncontrollably now. I see you, I said quietly but firmly. I've been seeing you all weekend, Catherine. She pulled back slightly to look directly at me, searching my face for something. Owen, you're 25 years old. You're Marcus's best friend. This is completely insane. I know it is, but I can't stop thinking about you. I've been watching you all weekend, and I keep thinking things I absolutely shouldn't be thinking about my son's best friend. The music was ending now. All around us, couples were naturally breaking apart, applauding politely, making their way off the dance floor. But Catherine and I stood completely still, locked in this intense moment, suspended in this dangerous confession. What room are you staying in? She asked suddenly, urgently. 316. Why? She looked around carefully, making absolutely sure no one was paying attention to us. Give me exactly 20 minutes. I need to make sure Marcus and Sarah leave safely for their honeymoon suite. Need to wrap up a few final details with the venue staff. And then... She paused, her hand tightening on mine. Then I'm coming directly to your room. If that's okay with you, I should have said no immediately. I should have reminded her firmly that this was completely wrong, that Marcus was my best friend, that the age difference was too significant, that we'd both deeply regret this in the morning. Instead, I said, I'll leave the door unlocked for you. Those 20 minutes felt like the longest hours of my entire life. I went back to my room, pacing anxiously, my mind racing wildly with guilt and anticipation in equal measure. This was Marcus's mom, my best friend's mother. What the hell was I doing? But I also couldn't forget the way she'd looked at me so vulnerably, the genuine desperation in her voice, the way her body had felt pressed against mine on that dance floor. When the soft, tentative knock finally came at my door, my heart nearly stopped completely. I opened it to find Catherine standing there, still wearing that champagne dress, but with her hair slightly mussed and her eyes filled with a powerful mixture of desire and uncertainty. I almost didn't come, she admitted quietly. But you did come. Owen, if we do this, we can absolutely never take it back. Marcus can never, ever know about this. This has to be our complete secret forever. I stepped aside to let her enter. I understand completely. She entered slowly, and I closed the door firmly behind her. For a long moment, we just stood there facing each other, both knowing with absolute certainty that we were about to cross a line that would fundamentally change everything between us forever. I haven't been with anyone in over 2 years, she admitted vulnerably. I've been so intensely focused on my work, on Marcus, on taking care of everyone else. I completely forgot what it feels like to genuinely want someone, to actually be wanted in return. Catherine, I said, stepping closer carefully, are you absolutely sure about this? Instead of answering with words, she reached up decisively and pulled me down to kiss her deeply. The kiss was absolutely electric, urgent and hungry, filled with all the tension that had been steadily building between us all weekend. She tasted like champagne and lipstick, and the way she kissed me was confident and passionate, with absolutely nothing hesitant about it.